The restoration of Toby's old railway was in full swing to be reopened as part of the Little Western. Duck and Oliver were hard at work bringing goods and passengers up and down the line, from the sunny beaches of Arlesborough to the quiet mystique of Misty Valley. Cyril the Fogman was also busy placing detonators on the line for trains running to Callan Castle, as he once did in the days of the old tramp. One day, Oliver was picking up passengers when Toby arrived with trucks from the farms. "Your line really is beautiful," remarked Oliver. "I'm very happy to see it reopened," smiled Toby. "My siblings and I ran things back in the good old days." He then sighed wistfully. "Such a shame they aren't around anymore. I do miss them." Oliver shuddered at the thought of their scrapping. "The cutter's torch is a cruel mistress," he sympathized. "Their usefulness knew no bounds. They worked hard until their end. One of them, however, met a rather untimely fate." Oliver gulped. He didn't want to be unsettled, but his curiosity piqued. "What happened?" he asked nervously. Toby took a deep breath. "Many years ago, my brother Jebediah ran late-night services to the castle. He had to traverse Misty Valley at his own risk since Cyril had turned in for the night." Toby paused as Oliver listened intently. "One night he was returning home. The fog was thick and there were no detonators on the line. But it wasn't the fog he had to worry about. It had rained hard and the cliffs were unstable. He didn't see the rock slide coming until it was too late." Oliver gasped. Toby composed himself to finish the story. "The rocks were cleared, but Jebediah was in pieces. There was no hope of putting him back together, so his remains were sent to the scrapyard. All except his bell, which was nowhere to be found. But Cyril has told me that when the fog is thick, he'll occasionally hear a mysterious bell ringing through the valley, but with no engine to be found." Oliver was speechless. "I like to think that the ringing bell is the spirit of my late brother, warning other engines to take care in Misty Valley," Toby sighed mournfully. "I'm very sorry for your loss," Oliver said at last. At Callan Castle, Duck's trucks were being unloaded in preparation for Lord Callan's autumn banquet. Oliver told him all about Toby's story. "A tragic story indeed," said Duck, "but we're Great Western engines. We don't believe in ghost stories." "It wasn't just a ghost story," replied Oliver. "It's a formal warning to take care in the valley. I best suggest we heed it." "Pure rubbish. Cyril is more than capable of keeping us safe on his own." Over the next day, work went swimmingly on the branch line as they prepared for the banquet. But Oliver couldn't stop thinking about Toby's story.
"Begging your pardon, Mr. Oliver, but wouldn't you think that the ghostly bell of an old tram engine is rather silly?" suggested Toad.
"We've heard stranger things on this island," said Oliver. "I wouldn't put it past." That evening, Oliver was waiting at the harbor to take a train of fish for the banquet. But then there was trouble. "The fishing boat has been stranded," said a workman. "It probably won't arrive until moonfall." "Perfect," mumbled Oliver. "A night run through the valley is just what I need to ease my nerves." Soon the boat arrived and the fish was loaded. As they journeyed up Misty Valley, he whistled to alert Cyril of his presence. Not long after, he felt the detonators below his wheels. But Oliver couldn't help but hear the sound of a bell ringing in his mind. It was getting louder, until Oliver realized he wasn't imagining it. He was hearing it loud and clear. "You do hear this too, right, Toad?" he gulped. Even Toad was unsettled now.
"Surely it's just Mr. Toby,"
Toad quivered. The ringing got louder and louder as Oliver went faster and faster.
"Slow down, Mr. Oliver! It's not safe to go this fast in the fog!"
But Oliver wasn't listening. The junction to the castle lay ahead and the points were against him. He didn't notice until it was too late. Luckily, no one was hurt. "Are you all right?" asked Cyril, emerging from the fog. "The ringing, it stopped," was all that Oliver could say. Cyril quickly phoned for help. At the yard, Duck was finishing some late-night shunting when the yardmaster received the call. Oliver's come off the line near Callan Castle. We need you to bring the breakdown train. Goodness, Oliver, Duck sighed in annoyance. We best get this over with now, said his driver. Duck collected the cranes and set off up his branch line into the night. As he entered Misty Valley, he was encompassed by the thick fog. He slowed down, expecting to feel the detonators, but they didn't go off, as Oliver had already run them over. Just my luck, Duck grumbled. As he whistled, the echo grew more and more faint. But then, there was a different sound, the sound of a bell ringing. Duck ground to a halt, expecting Toby to emerge from the fog. Toby? Is that you? There was no reply. The ringing continued. It got louder and louder, as if it were getting closer. Hello? Who's there? Duck's eyes darted around in panic, desperately trying to identify the source. Then he heard a different sound, the sound of rocks tumbling. He looked up in horror to see a rock slide hurtling down towards him. Look out! Cried Toby as he pushed the train to safety, just in time. By morning, Oliver had been put back on the rails and the engines had gathered at the castle for Lord Callan's banquet. Duck and Oliver were unusually silent. Toby spoke up. It's a good thing I decided to take a night run through the valley. I would have hated for either of you to meet the same fate as my brother. Yes, thank you, Duck said at last. But how did you know I was in danger? Something in me sensed something wasn't right, almost like a subliminal message from beyond. Toby was coupled to the breakdown train to take back down the line to clear the rubble. As he departed, he rang his bell, but the sound of it turned Duck pale. It wasn't the same bell he had heard in the valley. Wait, if that bell wasn't Toby's, then... Oliver looked solemnly at his friend. The Great Western engine sat shaken and humbled as the noise of Lord Callan's bagpipes drowned out all other sound in the valley.